We are told that history is a straight line, an arrow of progress from flint to steel to silicon. But the fossil record is full of glitches, impossible objects and lost technologies that prove the official story is wrong. These aren't just artifacts, they are bugs in the code of reality, and they suggest the past isn't what we were told. The stone and the spark. History is a bedrock of established fact, but sometimes you crack open that stone and find a gear that doesn't belong. A piece of an engine humming in the fossil record. The year is 1961. Three friends are trekking across the harsh, sun-baked terrain of the Coso Mountains in California, searching for geodes, those ordinary-looking rocks that hide a core of crystal. They find one, but it feels wrong. It's heavier than it should be, and there's a strange magnetism to it. They take it home. On a workbench, a diamond saw cuts into the stone, expecting to find quartz. Instead, they find the impossible. Embedded in the geode is a perfectly cylindrical object. It's about 2 inches long, made of white porcelain, with a metal rod at its center. It is, unmistakably, a spark plug. This, on its own, is merely strange. A piece of discarded junk from a Model T, perhaps, that somehow became encased in mud that hardened. But that is where the rational explanation ends. A geologist was brought in to examine the rock itself. The geode was not a concretion, but something far older. The shell was composed of fossilized sea creatures. The estimated age of the rock encasing the spark plug was 500,000 years. 500,000 years! This is a number that breaks the human timeline. This is long before Homo sapiens had mastered fire, let alone invented the internal combustion engine. This is a time when our most advanced technology was a sharpened piece of flint. And yet, there it was, a 1920s-era spark plug locked inside a stone that predated civilization by an order of magnitude. Scientists, journalists, and amateur investigators all flocked to the Coso artifact. Theories ranged from a lost, hyper-advanced civilization like Atlantis to a glitch in the timeline, a piece of our future that had fallen into our distant past. Skeptics tried to debunk it, claiming it was a simple concretion, a rapid-forming rock that had simply formed around a modern object. But the original discoverers, and the geologist who first saw it, held fast. The rock was ancient. And then, like all good evidence that threatens to rewrite the books, the Coso artifact vanished. It was reportedly sold for $25,000 and withdrawn from public view. All that remains are the photographs, the initial reports, and the chilling, impossible question. It is a piece of an engine, sitting in a block of stone that has no right to hold it. The spheres of deep time. The universe doesn't just have a dark sense of humor, it has an obsessive-compulsive one. It leaves clues that are too perfect, too precise to be accidents. In the 1980s, miners in South Africa, near the town of Klerksdorp, were digging deep into Precambrian mineral deposits. They were sifting through pyrophyllite, a soft mineral used in mining, and they began to find things. Small metallic spheres, each about an inch in diameter. They were dubbed the Klerksdorp spheres, and they are perhaps the most baffling, out-of-place artifacts on the planet. The first and most important fact is the rock they were pulled from. Geologists date this mineral deposit to the Precambrian period. The age is not ambiguous. It is 2.8 billion years old. Let's pause on that number. 2.8 billion. Not a million. Billion. This is a time before complex multicellular life had even begun. This is a time when the only life on Earth was a bacterial soup. The atmosphere was unbreathable. The continents had not yet formed into the shapes we know. And yet, buried in the rock from this primordial era are these manufactured objects, and they are clearly manufactured. These are not spherulites, a natural geological formation. Many of the spheres are perfect, balanced to a degree that astounds physicists. They are composed of a nickel-steel alloy that does not occur naturally. But the most chilling detail, the one that defies all explanation, is the grooves. Some of the spheres have 3 perfect parallel grooves etched around their circumference, as if they were turned on a lathe. They are too precise, too uniform, too deliberate to be the product of nature. They look like industrial products. Ball bearings from an impossible machine. A curator for the South African Museum, where many of the spheres are kept, Rolf Marx, described them as a complete and utter mystery. He noted that while being rotated on a vibration-free axis, some of the spheres continued to rotate as if self-propelled, defying known laws of inertia. They were not just inert metal, they were behaving. Natural concretions do not have grooves, they do not have metallic alloys, and they most certainly do not spin on their own. These objects are not just old, they are wrong. A curator for the South African Museum where many of the spheres are kept, Roelf Marx, described them as a complete and utter mystery. He noted that while being rotated on a vibration-free axis, some of the spheres continued to rotate, as if self-propelled, defying known laws of inertia. They were not just inert metal, they were behaving. Natural concretions do not have grooves, they do not have metallic alloys, and they most certainly do not spin on their own. These objects are not just old, they are wrong. Skeptics have, of course, tried to explain them away as natural concretions of limonite, but they cannot explain the perfect balance, the metallic composition, or the surgically precise grooves. They are quite simply an artifact of an intelligence found in a layer of rock that predates intelligence by billions of years. They are a calling card from a time that shouldn't have had visitors. They are a piece of industrial refuse from a factory that could not and did not exist. The ghost in the mechanism. We believe we invented the computer, that we built it from silicon and electricity, a product of the 20th century. But the ocean, it seems, has been holding onto an older model. In the year 1901, a group of sponge divers off the coast of the Greek island of Antikythera discovered a Roman-era shipwreck. They pulled up statues, pottery, and a single corroded lump of bronze. This lump sat in the National Archaeological Museum in Athens for decades, dismissed as a curiosity, perhaps a piece of a broken statue. Then, in the 1950s, and again in the 1970s, X-rays were used to look inside. What they found was not art. It was a machine of such staggering complexity that it shattered our entire understanding of the ancient world. The Antikythera mechanism, as it's now called, is a box containing over 30 intricate interlocking bronze gears. It is dated to approximately 100 to 200 before Common Era. It is an analog computer. Its purpose was to track the complex, irregular motions of the Sun, the Moon, and the 5 known planets. It could predict eclipses years in advance. It could even track the 4-year cycle of the Olympic Games. The level of engineering inside this box is breathtaking. It contains a differential gear, a complex assembly that allows for the calculation of different speeds and directions. The knowledge this machine contains is not just technical, it's philosophical. It proves the ancients saw the cosmos not as a home for the gods, but as a vast, predictable clockwork. A system. This is a level of mechanical thinking, of Newtonian logic that shouldn't have existed until the Enlightenment. This is a level of microengineering that would not be seen again on Earth for 1,500 years, when it finally reappeared in the clocks of European cathedrals. It suggests a catastrophe, a reset, that plunged humanity back into a technological dark age, forcing us to spend 15 centuries relearning what we already knew. This is not a simple clock. It is a mechanical cosmos. It encodes a deep, sophisticated understanding of astronomy that rivals that of the Renaissance. The problem is, this knowledge and this level of microengineering appears nowhere else in the ancient world. It is a complete anomaly. It is a ghost in the machine of history, a device so advanced it implies an entire lost line of technological development. The question isn't just how they built it, but the more terrifying question, where did the knowledge go? If you find your own understanding of history being challenged, this is just the beginning. Subscribe to our channel and join us as we continue to pull at these impossible threads. The glider in the tomb. The Wright brothers flew at Kitty Hawk in 1903. It was a triumph of modern invention. But the plans, it seems, were filed in an Egyptian tomb 2,000 years earlier. In 1898, French archaeologists were excavating a tomb in Saqqara, Egypt. They found a small 6-inch object carved from sycamore wood, dated to approximately 200 before Common Era. It had the shape of a bird with a beak, eyes and stiff wings. It was catalogued as a wooden bird and placed in the Cairo Museum where it sat, labelled as a child's toy or a ceremonial object. But it is not a bird. In the 1960s, Dr. Khalil Messiha, an archaeologist and aviation enthusiast, re-examined the object. He noticed things that a zoologist would find impossible, but an engineer would find revolutionary. The wings are not feathered, they are shaped like a modern high-lift airfoil, a specific design that generates lift and allows for soaring. The wings are also angled downward in what engineers call a dihedral angle, which provides stability in flight. But the most surgically precise detail, the one that makes the toy theory crumble, is the tail. Birds have a fanned horizontal tail for steering. The Sakara bird has a vertical stabilizer. This is a piece of technology. It does not exist in nature. It serves one purpose: to provide directional stability during controlled flight. A carver imitating a bird would have no reason to invent this. An engineer designing a glider could not do without it. It's not just a statue. It is perfectly balanced. When models of the Sakara bird were built and thrown, they didn't just fall, they flew. They glided across the air with perfect stability. It is a piece of 20th century aeronautical knowledge, locked in a 2,000-year-old tomb. It suggests the dream of flight wasn't just a dream for some lost, forgotten engineer on the Nile. It was a memory. The pillar of eternity time is supposed to equal decay, rust, entropy, the inevitable march of all things back to dust. But in Delhi, India, there stands a monument that has, for 1.5 millennia, forgotten how to degrade. It is the Iron Pillar of Delhi. It stands in the Qutb complex, a silent, 23-foot-tall, 6-ton sentinel. It was forged around the year 400 Common Era as a monument to King Chandragupta II, and for 1,600 years it has stood exposed to the elements. It has endured the brutal monsoon rains, the scorching sun, and in modern times the corrosive industrial age pollution of a massive city. And it has not rusted. This is not a myth. It is a chemical fact that has baffled metallurgists for a century. Any modern piece of iron, even high-quality steel, would be a pile of orange rust in a fraction of that time. The pillar remains smooth, dark, and almost perfect. Modern analysis revealed its secret, which only deepened the mystery. The pillar is made of 99.7, 2% pure iron. This level of purity, this skill in forge welding such a massive object, was considered completely impossible for its era. This is a level of metallurgy that humanity would only invent in the late 19th and 20th centuries. But the real trick, the cosmic punchline, is its skin. The pillar is protected by a microscopic, paper-thin layer of a compound called misawite, a rare iron-oxygen-hydrogen compound. This layer formed on the pillar's surface, acting as a passive, perfect, self-renewing, rust-proof coating. It is a form of advanced passivation technology that modern scientists still struggle to replicate. The pillar is not a monument. It is a message. It's a piece of deliberate, enduring technology masquerading as art, placed there by a culture that knew a secret about metal that we have only just begun to relearn. The map of a lost world. History is drawn by the victors. The maps we read are a record of what we've discovered. But what happens when you find a map drawn by someone who shouldn't have been there? In 1929, a German theologian working in Istanbul's Topkapi Palace Library stumbled upon a piece of a map drawn on gazelle skin. It was signed by a Turkish admiral named Piri Reis and dated to the year 1513. It is a real, verifiable and historically significant Portolan chart. It shows the coastlines of West Africa and the eastern coast of South America with stunning, almost modern precision. This alone is remarkable for 1513. But it's what the map shows at its southernmost edge that makes it an out-of-place artifact. It shows the northern coast of Antarctica. This is the first glitch. Antarctica was not officially discovered by the modern world until 1820, 300 years after this map was drawn. But the problem gets deeper. The map doesn't just show Antarctica, it shows the coastline as it looks under the ice. It depicts the Queen Maud Land coast, a part of the continent that has not been free of its ice cap for at least 6,000 years. Piri Reis himself wrote on the map that he was not responsible for the original cartography. Charles Hapgood, the historian who brought the map to public attention in the 20th century, argued it was definitive proof of an advanced, pre-Ice Age maritime civilization. He was predictably dismissed by mainstream academia, but the glitch remains. The map doesn't just show the coast, it shows rivers. It shows the inland topography of Antarctica, a landscape that has been buried under 2 miles of solid ice for thousands of years. This is not a guess. It is a survey. It is data that could only have been gathered by one of two sources: an ancient, forgotten civilization, or a modern one, using satellite-based ground-penetrating radar. He noted that he had compiled his map from over 20 ancient source maps, some of which, he claimed, dated back to the time of Alexander the Great and even earlier. This map is a photograph of the world as it was millennia ago. It is a copy of a copy, a data file passed down from a civilization that possessed the ability to accurately map the globe, including a continent hidden under ice long before the ice caps had even formed. It is a map of a lost world. Which of these source maps do you think he used? Let us know in the comments below what you think is the most logical or illogical explanation for this impossible cartography. The serpent in the sky. Ancient man looked at the stars and saw gods, patterns, and myths, but in the rolling hills of Ohio they saw something else: a calculator. It is called the Great Serpent Mound. It is a massive 1,348-foot long earthwork, a pre-Columbian effigy mound that is, quite simply, a masterpiece of engineering. It is not a burial mound. It contains no artifacts, no human remains. It is just a massive, perfectly sculpted serpent uncoiling itself across the landscape. Archaeologists date its construction to around 1000 before Common Era. It was built by a culture that had no written language, no wheels, and no advanced surveying tools. And yet, the precision is the entire mystery. This is not just art. It is a machine, a massive land-based astronomical calendar. The serpent's open mouth, which appears to be swallowing an egg or the sun, aligns perfectly with the sunset on the summer solstice. Its various coils and curves align with uncanny accuracy to the sunrise on the winter solstice and the equinoxes. This is a level of celestial engineering that should not have been possible. This is not the only such structure. All over the world, from the lines at Nazca in Peru to the stones of Karnak in France, the land is marked. But the serpent is somehow purer. It serves no obvious practical purpose. It is not a tomb, not a fortress. It is a silent, elegant equation connecting the earth to the sky. It is a piece of cosmic software written in sod and clay, a monument that tracks time on a scale that dwarfs human concerns. This was not a primitive people piling up Earth. This was a culture that understood the mechanics of the solar system on a profound level. It's a monument that tracks time on a cosmic scale, a message not for us, but for the sky itself, proving its creators possessed a level of knowledge that history insists they did not have. The kings before the flood. The ancient texts tell of men who lived for 900 years. We call it mythology, allegory. We dismiss it as a metaphor for a lost golden age. But what if it wasn't a metaphor, but a misplaced entry in a ledger? The artifact is the Sumerian king list. It is an ancient cuneiform tablet, several copies of which have been found in Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq. It is a legitimate, verifiable historical document. It lists the names of real historical Sumerian kings, their cities, and the lengths of their reigns. It is one of the bedrocks of our understanding of early Mesopotamian history. But the list is divided into two distinct parts: the kings who ruled before the Great Flood and the kings who ruled after the Great Flood. The kings who ruled after the flood have normal, plausible human lifespans. Their reigns last 20, 30 or 50 years. They are the kings we read about in history books. But the before kings, their reigns are not just long, they are impossible. The list states, with the dry, factual tone of an accountant, that after the kingship descended from heaven, the kingship was in Eridu. It then lists 8 kings who ruled from 5 different cities. Their total combined reign, 241,200 years. One king, Enmenlu-Ana, is said to have reigned for 43,200 years. Another, Alangar, for 36,000 years. Skeptics call them typos, scribal errors, a misunderstanding of numbers, or simple myth-making. But the numbers are too consistent across different versions of the list. They are presented as facts right alongside the reigns of verifiably real kings. Is this a simple error? Or is it a record? A memory from a time when the rules of time, aging, and reality itself were fundamentally different. The relics of the God machine. We dig for temples to find gods, altars, and idols. But in 1954, under the bustling streets of London, they dug for a god and found the blueprints for a machine. During the post-war rebuilding of the city, construction crews uncovered the foundations of a Roman building. It was the London Mithraeum, a temple dedicated to the mysterious god Mithras, a figure at the centre of a mystery cult popular with Roman soldiers. The discovery was astounding. They found statues of Mithras, of Minerva, of Mercury, and pagan iconography. But among these religious relics, they found objects that do not fit. Tucked away were strange tools, peculiar carvings, and miniature devices that looked uncannily mechanical. They found small, intricate objects with levers and parts that seemed designed to move. They looked less like offerings and more like instruments. This wasn't just a spiritual cult, it was a cult of knowledge. The iconography of Mithras is not just religious, it is astronomical. The entire layout of a Mithraeum is a map of the cosmos. The god is always depicted slaying a bull, a scene that many scholars now believe is an astronomical code, a representation of the precession of the equinoxes, an advanced astronomical concept. The strange, gear-like relics, the advanced celestial knowledge, the secrecy of the cult, it all points to a disturbing conclusion. The followers of Mithras weren't just worshipping a god, they were guarding a process, a secret, technical understanding of the cosmos, of physics, and perhaps of time itself. These relics suggest that beneath the marble and stone, ancient Rome held secrets about technology that were buried and perhaps meant to stay that way. If you know someone who believes history is set in stone, share this video with them. It might be time to show them the cracks in the foundation. The Vatican's rearview mirror. The past is a foreign country. We can read its letters, but we can never visit. But what if the Vatican built an embassy? A machine that could look back, not in memory, but in real, horrifying time. This is the story of Chronovisor. It is not an ancient artifact, but a modern one, which, if real, would confirm our worst suspicions about the past. The story comes from Father Pellegrino Ernetti, a respected Italian Benedictine monk who was also a scientist and physicist. In the 1950s, Ernetti claimed that he and a team of 12 other scientists, allegedly including the world-famous Enrico Fermi, had built a machine. He called it the Chronovisor. It did not transport people. Instead, it functioned like a television, tuning in to the residual energy, the echoes of the past. He claimed it could focus on any person, any place, at any time, and bring the image and sound into their lab. Ernetti made claims that were staggering, if not blasphemous. He claimed to have watched a lost Roman play, Thyestes. He claimed to have watched Napoleon. And then he claimed to have watched the final, agonizing moments of Christ on the cross. He even produced a photograph, a blurry, haunting image of a man's face in anguish, which he claimed was a snapshot taken from the machine's screen. The Vatican, of course, was horrified. In the 1970s, Ernetti claimed the machine had been voluntarily dismantled and hidden by the Vatican, who feared its power. It was, they allegedly concluded, too dangerous for humanity. Shortly before his passing in 1994, Ernetti was said to have confessed it was all a hoax, but others in his circle claim he was pressured into the confession to bury the secret for good. The ultimate secret, then, isn't a 2.8 billion-year-old sphere. It's a 20th century machine that, if real, would prove time is not a line, but a place. A place that can be visited. A prison whose walls are not as solid as we think. The past is never truly gone. It's written in stone, in rust-proof iron, and in the very code of our reality. The official story of our past is a house of cards, and these artifacts are the ones that threaten to bring it all down. The evidence is clear. We are not the first, and we are not alone in our own history. If you're ready to keep questioning the narrative, hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more investigations into the truth that's been buried.